All right, everybody. Well, welcome back to Speedrun Ragnarok 2021. My name is Spoonee, and I'll be your host for the next couple of games here. Our next game is one of my personal favorites that I haven't actually played, but I do love watching, Soul Blazer, ran by TranceQuina. And Trance is with us now. Hey, Trance, are you ready?
Yeah, I think, we got through, all the, technical stuff, and I think we're about to get started, but I believe we do have a naming incentive, what is going to be the name of our hero?
We sure do. Let me double check here and make sure that I get the correct name. And I believe Turbo is the winner, so Turbo will be the name of our Blazer today.
Alright, Turbo. I'm sure we're not gonna hear that name anywhere else in this game. Alright, so, this game actually, time starts as soon as you get control of the main character, so I'll just give a countdown and we'll get started. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! Alright, so if you haven't heard of this game, Soul Blazer is one of several games developed by Quintet for the Super Nintendo back in the 1990s. I think of it as kind of a Legend of Zelda clone, where you basically play the game from a top-down perspective. You explore dungeons, you kill enemies with a sword. In this game, enemies come out of monster lairs, where you have to kill certain enemies linked to lairs. They'll either spawn out of the lairs, or they will just start already spawned. But once you kill all the enemies linked to a lair, you step on the lair, and one of 5 things will happen. So, lairs can do one of 5 things. They can open a new path in the dungeon to let you progress more. They can reveal chests that contain items, some of which may be necessary to beat the game. They can create warp points back to the master room, which you just saw me in, which is basically the save room of this game. They can create statues that can warp you back to the town and sometimes give rewards. And the main function is that they restore souls in the town area, which helps rebuild the town. So you can damage enemies one of 3 ways. You can use magic, which we obtained from that first lair I freed. You can poke them with a sword, which is what I'm doing right now, or you can swing the sword. The way magic works in this game is that it comes out of an orb that is circling me right now. This layer right here, I actually don't have to seal to complete the game, but since it's a marathon, I'm doing it for safety. Because this layer will unlock a shop where I can get a free herb if I ever need to, anytime, as long as I don't already have one in the inventory. The game only lets you hold 1 herb at a time. Herbs will fully restore my health if it ever depletes. And there are certain times, including the boss of this first area, where an herb is mandatory, and I want to make sure that I have one. Got that a little too early. Just enough gems. Oh, and another thing is that magic costs gems in this game, which are those gold objects that you see enemies drop. You can either get 1 gem, 5 gems, or 10 gems from enemies, but it's completely RNG. What I just picked up there was a Dream Rod, which is one of the few items in this game that actually it's used quite often and not just once. Like, you can use it a number of times throughout the game to obtain extra items and learn more about the story through dialogue sequences, but I will be using it a few times just to progress the game. Basically, you can talk to a sleeping soul with the Dream Rod, and you can kind of go into their dreams. So right there, I just restored the Watermill Keeper. And so now, what do I do now? Oh, look, blue slime. Wait. Oh, I just died. Oh, I guess I have to reset. So, basically, you don't actually game over when you die in this game. They send you back to the Master's Room and just take away all your gems. And throughout the speedrun, it's actually a convenient way to get back to the town faster than walking back, because throughout this game, I do have to make several visits to the town after restoring certain souls to unlock new areas in the dungeon area. Like right there, I just turned the wheel that will allow me to take the elevator. So I'll be death warping a number of times. Obviously, the negative side effect is that I lose gems, so there are certain times where I will not be death warping and will instead be walking back whenever it is convenient and whenever I want to actually preserve my gems, because magic will become kind of important later on.
While we're making our way through this dungeon, do we have time for a quick couple of donations?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Okay, we actually have a few that didn't get a chance to get read from the Final Fantasy IV run by Natara. We had $5 from Undercaffeinated Alex, who says, "Say, by the power of Grayscale, I will name you Natara!" Thank you, Undercaffeinated Alex. We also had a $100 donation from Nori, who said, "Finally had a chance to watch the race and count up the mistakes. Just rounded up for a wonderful cause. Thanks again, Val, for having myself and the other way forwarders. We're making such great headway towards that AFK room. I believe we can do it. Much love to all involved. Bat Dog for Chicory."
Alright, so, one thing I should mention about monsters is that some of the monsters that come out of monsters' lairs have predetermined movement where they move directly relative to your position, but other monsters like those plants I just killed will move completely randomly. So, in certain spots, I can just stand in a safe position and be able to kill enemies without ever getting hit, as long as I move correctly and swing in the right spots. Oh, I was one gem short. Normally I like to take out that torch, but there is a backup. Fortunately, I only have 1 health. Okay, I survived. And then there are some layers where you can literally just stand 1 tile next to them, and they will literally just stand on the tile. No, those pronouns are correct. So here I just used the Dream Rod to get into this girl's dreams. I'm sure we're not gonna see this girl in another world later. But apparently, she just woke up with us standing right in front of her, and she's not happy. She just yelled at us, and now she's apologized and asks us to listen to her story, but we're not happy that she yelled at her, so we're just gonna walk away. I have not played Alundra. I want to. Especially since it's I think it's a Working Designs game.
You know, I've heard amazing things about Alundra, but I've never played it either.
Yeah, me too. So this third visit is literally just to get this one item, Leo's brush, that is impossible to get on a previous visit because it requires talking to that girl. So now we're gonna go into this painting using a paintbrush because for some reason paintbrushes can actually send you into a painting rather than just creating one. Alright, we just received our first level up. In this game, when you level up, your HP fully restores. And so a lot of the leveling is routed in to happen at specific positions when it's convenient, because we take a lot of damage and we really need the health restores. I don't even know why I got that gem. Gems are not that important. They can help a little bit in this area, but not that much.
So for those of us that haven't played Soul Blazer, how exactly do the gems work?
Well, you can obtain magic throughout the game, and when you cast magic, it comes out of that orb that's circling around me, and it consumes gems. Each magic spell requires a different number of gems, and depending on the size of the gem you get from drops, that determines how much gems you get from them. That enemy right there I actually can't kill right now. It requires a specific type of weapon that I can't get into later in the game. You can come back later and kill it, but it doesn't really have much— oh, well. Alright, well. I have to do this. I wanted to create a— oh, now I gotta be really careful. I wanted to create this shortcut for safety, because this first boss can go wrong, and if I were to lose my herb, I would have to get another one. Or if I lost my herb early, I would die and have to walk all the way back. So I just created a warp point for safety and got another herb.
I gotta say, Soul Blazer definitely has some great music too.
Yeah, the music's kind of nice. This is, I believe, the only game that the composer did. Alright, the way that boss works is you basically have to move up that left conveyor floor and poke it with the sword while pressing down on the D-pad to prevent you from going too close and taking damage. You have to be really careful, because if you press down too many times, you'll go too far down and miss out on damage while the boss is still able to damage you. Or if you go too close, the boss will start winging its arm at you, which makes the boss invulnerable, and thus you'll also lose damage. And if that happens, you're basically dead. So many projects, so little time. And that is World 1.
Also in speedrunning, with the amount of times that we death warp, I really wonder what these NPCs must think of us.
Yeah. From what I understand, the lore behind the main character this game is that it's a spirit from above, and interestingly enough, the main character serves someone called the Master, which was actually the name of the main character of ActRaiser. And, Master was actually just a name that they gave to, the main character of ActRaiser in the English version, because, well, in the early 1990s, Nintendo of America would not allow any religious references in video games.
Think about how different all these JRPGs would be past the 90s if instead of attacking and dethroning God, we had to attack and dethrone Master.
Yeah, I know. Here's another random enemy that not only moves random, but is invulnerable when it pokes out its spine like that. And let's hope I don't die before getting the next level up, which fortunately is very soon, and these next few layers shouldn't kill me as long as I stand in the right spots. Alright, I should be good now. That herb is also kind of important for this area. Now, there is an optional armor that I'm actually going to be picking up here. It's not required to complete the run, but it's going to make another area later in the game much easier. It's the ice armor, which, when equipped, allows me to go across lava floors. It was mainly designed for this area, which has bridges that light up on fire, but it's also useful for lava floors in another area that is much more dangerous. Also, here I'm going to be picking up something called a strange bottle, which is a consumable item that also gets used when you run out of HP, just like the medical herb, except what it does is it prevents you from losing any of your gems from the death. And that'll be convenient for World 3. Not getting a lot of luck with these fireballs. Like I said, they're immune to damage when they shoot out their branches. Well, they're actually just called herbs in this game. And that's the strange bottle. It's an invisible object. There are a number of invisible items in this game. Although, there are these things called spirits that you can unlock, like the one I unlocked at the very beginning, which gave me the ability to use magic. And they can give you a variety of abilities. The only one actually required to complete the game is the first one, and only because the game forces you to get it. I am going to be getting the one in this world, though, because it's going to light up the last room of this dungeon, which otherwise is pitch black. Top runners would just skip it and have the whole dungeon memorized, but I'm not a top runner of this game.
Also, dark rooms are scary.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I know it's spooky month, but still.
Alright, I could come back later to unlock this layer, and it would be a little faster, but it's a little bit safer if I do it now, because it will create the restore point to the master's room a little earlier. Alright. I'm going in that position just to give myself enough time to react to the plants. I don't know if they're actually plants. They look more like, bushes? Which I guess are technically plants. Uh-oh. Well. Uh-oh. I don't actually know if I, okay, I didn't lose my herb. Alright. I absolutely hate this room. So these lizards will come out in a predetermined path, depending on where you're standing. However, there are these other lizards that teleport, and they teleport randomly, and they can just teleport right on top of you, and they don't teleport out one at a time either. They just they do teleport out one at a time, but they don't, like, wait until you kill each one of them. That's another thing about monster layers in this game. With some monster layers, the enemies will only pop out after you've defeated an enemy from the same layer. For others, they will just constantly pop out. And then for others, they are already out.
Some of them are just a little too excited to see us, I guess.
Yeah, I know. Alright, took quite a bit of damage, but I survived. Still have my medical herb. Or herb. And these are the lava bridges I was talking about. Gonna wait for this to pass. So this statue right here could take me back to the town area if I needed to, but fortunately I didn't take that much damage, so I don't really need to go back. But it does have a very important magic spell, and that is the light arrow. Which is the best magic spell in the game by far, and for some reason the game gives it to you in World 2. Basically...
You know what they say, best defense, good offense, right?
Yeah. But basically, you know how magic comes out of that little orb? Well, normally it will... The fireballs, at least, will come out in the direction that the hero is facing. However, in the case of light arrows, they shoot out in 4 directions from wherever the orb is. So it doesn't even necessarily matter where or what position I'm standing, what position I'm facing, rather. All that really matters is where I shoot them. Or rather, where the orb is. And I forgot to set it up. That fireball did hurt the lizard, but unfortunately it didn't do enough damage. Not strong enough. Oh, that went pretty well. Now the hard part is getting back without dying, because I really don't want to lose my gems. Well, I'm just gonna wait. Go ahead and read some donations if you like.
Sure thing. We've actually got a $100 donation from Sporadic Erratic from that Final Fantasy IV run, who said, "I am so sorry that I don't have any fanfic, but I gotta donate during my favorite game of all time. Please put Milan Z in the garbage," which I thankfully did. That's my favorite part of the run. They also said, "Also please put this towards the Final Fantasy XIV bonus Hype 8-player trial run incentive." Thank you so much, Sporadic. Have we got time for one more?
Sure.
Alright, we've got a $5 donation from Fizu, who says, "One of the only Natara quotes I have that isn't R18 or above. I just needed a little blood as a treat. That aside, put the money towards Natara's bid war choice. She deserves it for the hassle I give her. Less than 3.
Oh look, we found another turbo.
Turbo!
So this is that spirit I mentioned earlier that is gonna light up the last room for us. Skipping it on this version of the game would actually save, like, a considerable amount of time. Not so much on the Japanese version, because for some reason, the text on the Japanese version moves much faster than the English version. And not because of the amount of characters in the language, it just moves faster. Like, I think there's like a 10-minute difference between the world record for the J version and the world record for the U version. So now I'm going to pick up that ice armor. It's been also a while since I've actually been able to get through that area without coming back early. So I'm not totally used to doing the second part without the ice armor equipped. I'm gonna try and play it a little safe. Could be getting another level up soon, but last few rooms can be pretty nasty. Oh! Wow! Oh. Movement is very important in this game. Not just because you want to avoid enemies and damage, but because if you're like one tile off sometimes, the game will just not let you go through. Also, remember these sun-like enemies, because we might be seeing them a bit later. For now, they're just gonna try and do damage to me. This teleporting lizard lair is a little easier than the one from earlier, because they come out one at a time. As in, they only come out after I kill one. So I only have to fight one at a time. Be more clear. Oh! Got too close to it. Oh. Wow, I sound just like the hero. Ugh.
Sound effects, they may have also reused an illusion of Gaia?
Yeah, Quintet had a habit of reusing assets. Like, one area of World 5 pretty much reuses the majority of its map from ActRaiser.
Yeah, I knew it sounded familiar. Exactly. Sound effects so nice, they use them twice.
Alright, I gotta focus here. I do not have a lot of health. Still gotta kill a few more layers before I can kill it. Alright, this is gonna be clutch. Assuming I don't die before I even get there. And if you haven't noticed, this is that dark room. Alright, I'm actually in a good spot here. Oh, I may have to move a bit. That's sun. Alright, I'm good. Oh wow, it shot something. Save from those things, at least. I've got a lot of arrows left. Alright. Well, fortunately, that costed the majority of my arrows. Oh, gonna make the... Assuming I hit there, gonna make the first part of the next map, next world, a little more difficult. But I've got the next boss now. Casually, that's one of the hardest boss fights in the game. But the way those lion heads work is... their movement is dependent on your position, and you can actually completely manipulate it.
That is amazing to watch.
Unfortunately, to even be able to get there without a death, I had to use the majority of my arrows, which is going to make the next part considerably more difficult. So, now we have a water level, where I'm actually going to have to walk underwater a lot, and even though I'm a spirit, apparently I still can't breathe, or I still need to breathe air. And thus, I need to pick up a certain armor to be able to breathe underwater. First, I got this area, which is probably the worst part of the whole world. Especially when I don't have a lot of arrows. Because there are rocks that take like 1 damage from the sword. Keep in mind, I still have the first weapon in the entire game. Oh, well, I missed an input. Not that I had a lot of arrows. And when I say not a lot of arrows, I really mean not a lot of gems. Fortunately, whenever you die, any layers that you've unlocked remain unlocked. However, if you die before killing all the enemies from a layer, even if you've killed some of them, they will all respawn. The same thing happens if you leave the area without killing all the enemies. Well, I tried. And now I'm gonna have to kill that first rock again.
That just means we get to listen to this bot more.
Yeah. Also, when you kill more enemies, it can mess up your timing of the level ups. I'm just gonna go back and get a heal. Also collect some gems. And you know what? I'm gonna equip this. So help reduce the damage a little bit. Ooh, I got a 10. That's all of them. Alright, this last layer is much easier, because these Kongs spawn one at a time, and from this position they won't move. Well, top runners do this entire area without the armor. In fact, top runners don't even get the armor. Now that I have the armor, I have to remove the armor, because otherwise it'll take forever to get this death warp. So now I have to come into this area literally to clear one layer. And then I have to death warp again. So just like when I had to get that paintbrush from World 1, it's kinda inconvenient. Alright, so throughout this area, I have to free these mermaid statues, and then I have to talk to the statues to unlock certain pathways by removing the tablets. But first, I have to get that bubble clothing, or else I'll just die before I even get the areas. Oh, and let's not forget to talk to the statue. This mermaid here is gonna give me the bubble clothing. Or bubble armor. The first statue called it the bubble clothing. Jellyfish are kind of annoying. Also, now collecting gems, because they're going to be kind of important for a part coming up, which is also why I grabbed that strange bottle in World 2, because I'm going to need to take another death warp, and I don't want to lose my gems. can go ahead and read a few donations if you have any.
I was just going to take this opportunity while we're working our way through this dungeon to remind everybody that you are currently watching Speedrun Ragnarok, and we are proud to be benefiting Take This again this year. Take This is a mental health nonprofit, and their main mission is to inform the gaming community about mental health issues, provide education on different disorders and prevention techniques, and reduce the overall stigma around mental illness. If you'd like to make a donation during the event, you can type !donation for that link. There are a lot of wonderful incentives still open. We'll be reading all of your donations as they come in. And thank you so much for all of your support.
Alright. Oh, that was a terrible time for a level up. Because I'm about to take a death warp right now. If I had not gotten that level up, I might have been able to skip removing the armor. But because I had to kill all those extra enemies from those deaths, I got more experience. And as you may have noticed, I did not lose any gems that time, and that is because I had the strange bottle on. Now we're going back into the ocean. And we're going to head towards a volcano. Now, what the game actually wants you to do at this point is talk to one of the mermaids to get the mermaid tier, I think. And what that item would do is it would put out all the lava in the volcano area. But that requires Actually, I don't know if it requires clearing an extra... It doesn't require clearing an extra layer to get the mermaid, but to actually get to where you need to drop it, it requires clearing a few extras. And it's actually possible to skip that entirely if you can run across one lava pool quickly enough that you don't die before hitting it, especially since it's the last layer you need to hit. Fortunately, if I have a medical herb and enough health, I can skip it. It's gonna require a lot of arrows though, which is why I didn't want to lose any. Also, do remember this area because I might be coming back to it later. This area is kind of nasty because there are these lava rocks that just randomly drop on the floor and can just hit you. Their spots are random, like, just have to kind of get lucky. You don't really have a lot of time to respond, especially in the speedrun where I want to be attacking from certain positions to avoid damage from enemies and those fish that shoot bubbles. Did I miss 2? Wow. Okay, that's another thing about this game is for an enemy to actually take damage, they have to be on screen. There's no off-screen damage, so since I just barely moved off-screen to avoid some of that, that bottom rock missed one of the arrows. Another thing I didn't mention is that when you release a soul in the town area by unlocking one of the layers, you actually get a little health back. And that can be pretty useful in certain spots. Like right now, where I want my health to be high. Forgot that the best spot to actually, those tongs is here. Alright. Yeah, you saw how quickly I lost health there. You're not supposed to be able to cross that. You're supposed to put out the lava pool, but that's also going to save me some time later. Because I did mention I'm going to have to come back here at some point. That's not till the end of the run. And this is the part where I have to remember to get the Thunder Ring after talking to the statue. So I have to talk to this dolphin that's going to give me a Thunder Ring. Remember how I mentioned that there were certain enemies that I couldn't kill without a certain sword that I can't get until later? Well, at this point in the game, I actually have to kill or clear a certain layer that has those types of enemies. But the only way I can do it is if I lure those enemies towards a certain lightning rod using the Thunder Ring. And it's literally the only use for the Thunder Ring in the game. But I have to get it, because that layer is what unlocks the last mermaid statue. Also, I should be very careful not to mash too much, because if I accidentally talk to an NPC twice, I lose a lot of time, because text in this version moves very slow. If you have any quick donations, go ahead and read them. What am I doing? I actually have to kill these. Did I miss one here? No, let's... You can't damage those, I don't know. They look like crabs with shells, I guess? But you can't damage them when they're under their shell.
Maybe the shell is made of adamantite.
I actually don't remember if that sword I alluded to, which you get later, can actually hit those enemies under the shell. I don't think I've ever tried it.
I was actually taking a look at some of the prizes that we have for today. They're really awesome. I think earlier it got mentioned that there was a whole prize of a signed Destiny Collector's Edition. And even if it's just Thursday, we have Eevee Nano Block, a Destiny Blind Box Funko figure, a limited edition metal Crystal Palace print, and a Hope Shield, which you can actually buy those Wormwood places. If you'd like to take a look at those, you can type !prize in the chat. There's a lot of really, really awesome prizes.
Fish, please. Sometimes it helps to actually intentionally take damage to prepare for a death warp. However, you have to be careful because you don't want to take too much. So I'm just playing on the safe side here. And now I'm about to head to the final part. And I have to pick up a very important item. And that is the power bracelet, which is going to double my attack power, which is very important because I still have the weakest sword in the game, and I've got another boss coming up, and this boss fight was designed to assume you do not have the weakest sword in the game equipped. This area tries to do damage to you before you even get to the boss.
Well, that certainly seems rude of it. Would you say this boss has a bone to pick with us?
Not anymore. Yeah, you want to take out at least one of the hands, because they will just go right on top of you, and then it's about basically moving into the right positions. That skull head has a very weird hitbox. Basically, if you stand in certain spots, you won't take damage. For some reason, you actually have to stand in front of this mermaid to talk to her. Probably because she's a queen and she demands that you stand in front of her. So now we have Mountain of Souls. There is kind of important. but not necessarily right now for another reason. So, there is kinda challenging. First, there are these bats that like to move around, and they usually keep their distance from you, make it really hard to swing with the sword, so you want to use the arrows. And then there are some other enemies in this level that are actually very difficult to kill without arrows. Well, okay, that didn't take long. Fortunately, I didn't have a lot of gems yet. Those snowballs are pretty annoying. You want to try and break one of them by moving up those stairs at a specific angle. I did not get it that time. Alright, I'm safe now. Now I'm gonna pick up a very important armor, the magic armor. Because this armor is going to cut the gem requirement for all magic in half. And I'm gonna need to use a lot of magic here.
Gems in one of those chests is a nice bonus too.
Yeah, that last chest that I skipped is completely empty.
Oh man, really?
Yep, it's completely empty.
They said read your book.
Thank you, Palmer. Sorry about what happened to your console. Fortunately, nobody here will have to endure the punishment that is beyond the beyond. Oh, you liked Beyond the Beyond? Well, someone had to like it. Don't worry, you'll get another chance to see it in a few weeks because, Questing for Glory, Hope, and Healing happens, I think, the first, week of November? And, Professor Palmer, assuming he can get another PS2 or fix his current one, will be running Beyond the Beyond.
I was warned against playing Beyond Beyond, so I've seen a bit of it, but I've never played it myself.
Well, Beyond the Beyond is kind of like a working designs game in that they did the opposite of what normally happens in localization, where usually when a game gets released in English, they dumb down the difficulty. But, for some reason, Camelot decided to increase the health of all the bosses in that game. And that game already had a ridiculous encounter rate. I'm just gonna take this heal. But anyways, I had to come back here for the mushroom shoes, which I have to use in 2 parts here. Because you may have noticed me skating on ice a little earlier. Well, I'm gonna have to be able to walk on that ice. And that requires swapping on those mushroom shoes in 2 parts of this area. And I'm literally gonna swap it right off for the power bracelet after each walk.
I was actually just about to ask about the mushroom shoes because I went, wait a minute, did that say that you got mushroom shoes? That's adorable.
Alright, I left this lair unsealed so that I could regain a little bit of health on my way back up. Mushroom shoes actually don't help you go up these slopes, unfortunately. And coming up, there are these wizards that I have to kill with light arrows because I want to make sure that they don't move off the layers. Once they start moving off the layers, they just go completely out of control, where they'll teleport in random spots and only be vulnerable for, like, half a second. Please, Spoonee, do not play Beyond the Beyond.
You know, I could maybe be talked into it if somebody donated to, let's say, a certain charity marathon we're in the middle of right now, with maybe a comment convincing me as to why I should play Beyond the Beyond.
Alright, chat, if you want Spoonee to play Beyond the Beyond on stream, get your donations in and tell her exactly why she should play Beyond the Beyond. Also, what other games would you like to see Spoonee play? Come on, get your donations in. Tell us what you would like to see Spoonee play.
Oh no! TranceQuina, do we have a minute for a donation? We actually do have a $50 donation from Balthazar, who says, "Play Beyond the Beyond. Do it. You won't, coward."
Well, doesn't Balthazar come from the future?
Maybe he sees a future where I play Beyond the Beyond, which is terrifying.
Come on. Ah, barely got that gem. Gem RNG is kind of important for this part. Fortunately, I'm about to get my first weapon upgrade, and only because, for whatever reason, I can't pass a certain old man without having the Lucky Blade equipped. But one thing I didn't mention about weapons in this game is that they all have a level attached, where you have to be a certain level to be able to swing the sword. If you're not at or above that level, you can only poke enemies with it. Fortunately, pretty much all the remaining enemies here, I actually don't even want to kill with the sword. I want to kill with arrows. So it's kind of convenient to equip it. And the Lucky Blade also has the special bonus effect of increasing the odds of better gem drops. I had to creep up to that wizard because it's off screen and it's very easy to get that wizard to notice you. That is not a good time.
I guess at least he's not a moon lizard.
Here I can actually spawn enemies out of 2 layers at the same time. Some of these layers you actually just want to wait for all the enemies to spawn out, so that you can just, like in this case, I can kill all those slimes with a single light arrow and save time and gems. The only Quintet games I've actually played are Soul Blazer and Illusion of Gaia. Don't ask me to speedrun that game, though. The double tap dashing was enough to make me not want to run it, but once I saw how broken that game is and how much advanced tech there is, especially with movement, that is way above my skill level.
I had a heck of a time using that game casually. I don't know how I finished it.
Well, I missed one arrow that was one bat that was out of my sight.
He says, "You better get out of here."
I am really bad at this game.
No, you're not. You take that back.
So this is that old man that will just stand in your way until you have the Lucky Blade equipped. Most of the enemies in this room will spawn one at a time on top of each other. Not this one, though. They spawn after you kill them. Funny is that I've actually heard Beyond the Beyond was supposed to be a Super Nintendo game. Which is why when they decided to move it to the PlayStation, they had to, at the last minute, create this opening cutscene just to fit in with Sony's policy at the time that every game on their platform have something with 3D graphics.
No idea that was a policy.
There is one thing I do like about Beyond the Beyond, and that is the composer.
Yeah,
Sakuraba is great. Sometimes it's really hard to actually step on layers because you have to be, like, pixel perfect. Alright, now that I've gotten a level up, after I clear this layer, I'm actually gonna go and fight the boss, since I'm at full health. By the way, this boss is super difficult. Ouch! Oh, man. Oh, wow, that fireball missed me. Ouch, please stop that!
Like, excuse me, sir, we're trying to go fast here. Do you mind?
Ouch. Oh, I think it's gonna kill me. Let's, I'll give it one more try.
Got this, I believe.
I'm sure a lot of you probably had trouble with that boss casually, but apparently if you just have the Lucky Blade and the Power Bracelet equipped and poke it, and are a certain level at full HP, you'll beat it in a DPS race. And you'll literally avoid all those fireballs, like, they'll go right under you. You'll take damage from its... Or you'll avoid the fireballs that go across that linear path. You won't avoid the ones that come out of its spear. Oops, I think I moved too close. Alright, we good. Alright, I gotta be careful. I'm running low on gems, and I can't move towards these because I don't want to spawn that. Or I've already spawned the wizard. I don't want to make that wizard move. Eventually, I have to move over. Clear that layer. So I could go to the next world if I wanted to, but I actually have to clear a few extra layers. If not now, I'd have to do it later. Because I have to free these grandmas, which are going to be kind of important. Interestingly enough, this is the only world where when you defeat the boss, you don't actually free the world's guardian. Free the king who will tell you who to talk to get the stone, but you actually have to clear a completely different layer to get that stone. Very important that I don't hit that layer before unlocking that one, because if I do, it'll reset the unopened layers, and I'd have to kill all the enemies again. Like, I'm down to 3 gems at the very end here. Like, I'm 1 gem short from even having enough to cast 1 light arrow. So we're not going to talk to that king I freed after defeating the boss. I'm going to talk to the snail instead.
I like snails.
What's your favorite snail?
I have no idea. I don't really know the types of snails. I'm not gonna lie. I like the one that looks cute and leaves the slime trail. That's about as specific as I can get. Oh, while we're working on getting to where we're going next, do we have a moment for a donation?
Go ahead.
Awesome. We have got a $20 donation from Cloudy One, who says, I don't know what's beyond the beyond. You don't know what's beyond the beyond? Does anyone know what's beyond the beyond? We could find out together. Oh, wild arms. Thank you so much, Cloudy One.
Alright, so this is actually one of the hardest areas in the run, because, I mentioned earlier how there are these enemies that I can't kill without a specific sword. They're metallic enemies, and I need the Jantetsu sword, and unfortunately, I'm not at a high enough level to be able to swing that sword, but I still have to kill them. The game basically expected me to be level 16 going in here, but I'm only level 13, so I'm gonna have to poke all those enemies to death, which is kind of hard, especially when you consider how they move. So, there's not going to be a lot of talking for me. I really got to concentrate here. you don't get those mice the first time they come around. They just run all over the map, and you have to, like, wait forever for them to come back or try to chase them. And this is why I picked up the ice armor earlier. These lava floors do a lot of damage if I don't have it equipped. I just almost missed that last one. I sealed that other layer because if I had missed any of them, I could have reset the layer by sealing that layer over there, since it transitions to, it transitions it to the, world map, since it frees a soul. Don't actually have to kill these helicopters, because I'm not sealing that layer, but helps me get the level up faster, and they're just gonna come after me anyway.
I guess the good news about them expecting this higher level here is that everything's worth a lot of XP, right?
Alright, that's the last of the mice. Got all of them first try. I could also reset that mice layer by clearing this layer first, if I missed them. Actually, you didn't have to kill all those. Just have to steal this one layer. Now I'm gonna head into the model towns. So now I'm level 15, which means I can actually swing the Lucky Blade. Nice, because since I just took a death warp, I need to collect more gems to deal with some of the enemies here. And this is that map I mentioned that reused assets from ActRaiser, mainly the out areas. Of course, I mean the original ActRaiser, not the remake.
I'll be honest, for some reason, my brain thought that you were going to say not ActRaiser 2, but I don't know if most people...
What's ActRaiser 2? I don't think there is an ActRaiser 2. This is ActRaiser 2. This is the real sequel to ActRaiser.
Yes, right, exactly. That's the truth.
We don't need to talk about that other game claiming to be ActRaiser 2. There's actually an invisible enemy standing right here. There's a spirit in this world that can help you see the invisible enemies in the town areas, but since those the ones I actually have to kill never move, I just know where they are, so I don't actually need to get it. And now I'm level 16, so I can finally swing the Zantetsu sword.
Yay!
So the next part of Leo's lab, where I actually have to kill metallic enemies, will be much easier. First, I have to clear one layer in this second town model. Basically, I have to shoot these invisible tanks with arrows. Alright. I'm at full health, but fortunately, there are enemies that just do so much damage, I don't even think I need to remove my armor. Wouldn't really save much time due to the extra menus. Speaking of armor, I'm going to be picking up a new one, the light armor. Technically, I can skip it, but it's a really bad idea to skip the light armor. I would never try it. Also, another thing about the metallic enemies is that they are immune to magic. Oh, that's another thing I didn't mention. Or another thing I didn't mention is that all bosses, except for the final boss, are immune to magic. Funny how the best way... Oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't equip the light armor immediately. Well, now I have the opportunity. I'm doing all this armor changes. I'm gonna get a heal anyway. Not such a big mistake.
Out of curiosity, does that make the last boss easier since you can use magic?
Well, the last boss is actually kind of easy. There's actually a reason that you can use magic, but you have to use a very specific kind of magic. And you have to use the magic. You can't damage it without it. The boss is actually immune to all magic other than that particular magic.
I see the old, you better call the Nintendo hotline if you can't figure this one out.
Fortunately, the game outright tells you what you have to do. I have not played Mystic Quest yet. Still gotta play that game.
As long as you aren't expecting it to be one of the mainline Final Fantasies, it's not very difficult, but it's fun and it's full of bangers. It's all bangers.
Yeah, I've heard it has a pretty awesome soundtrack. Now this next area has a lot of menuing, because I have to constantly switch on items in the town areas for different NPCs. Oh look, a talking doll. I've also heard the Mystic Quest is very short.
I think the first time I played it, I beat it in about 15 hours. And I'm pretty slow, so yeah, it's a fairly short game.
Sure, you're not slower at games than me. When I'm not speedrunning, I'm pretty slow.
Sometimes even when I am speedrunning, I'm slow.
Wait, you speedrun?
Yeah, I do speedrun Final Fantasy for Paladin %.
Well, that is a category.
It is, and I mean, honestly, Natara ran Final Fantasy IV earlier, and she got Paladin, and then the game kept going, and I said, wait a minute, I thought that was the end of the game. I've been bamboozled.
So I just grabbed the Spirit Sword, which is just like the Zantetsu Sword, in which it's required to kill a certain type of enemy. In this case, it's these spirit enemies, or ghosts. That's what you like to call them. But they're a lot easier to kill. I can just stand here poking while they'll just surround me, and eventually they'll just get killed by the sword. So while I'm standing here, you can read some donations, or if you have any other blurbs you'd like to read.
I mean, no one else has threatened me with reasons to play Beyond the Beyond, but that boat's still open.
Oh, come on, Chad, you're letting me down.
I mean, we're getting so close to $8,500. Our total goal is $10,000, and I'm not sure if y'all know about it, but the $10,000 goal for Speedrun Ragnarok kind of represents something that Take This calls an AFK room, which basically, when you go to a convention, you know how sometimes there's so much going on that suddenly you're like, I need to go to a quiet place. It's really overwhelming. Well, the AFK rooms are exactly that. It's a nice, quiet space for when things get to be a little too much. You can go to calm down. It's quiet. They have, phone chargers. They have places you can sit down and draw. I have not been to one myself, but I know that several of the RPG Valkyries have mentioned using them, and they've heard that they're very, very nice. And if we hit that $10,000 goal for Speedrun Ragnarok, we can literally fund an entire AFK room for a convention.
So, those 3 chests, I could skip, well, definitely don't want to skip the herb, but, I could technically skip the strange bottle if I wanted to do the next part with less arrows, but I want my, gems, and that's also why I picked up that 100 gem chest. Those chests were invisible, but there's a spirit in this area, which, if you free it, it can make all invisible chests noticeable. Also, if you've ever played the randomizer this game, you have to know, like, where some of the most hidden items are. Because it, like, puts required items in areas where you're, like, there are these emblems that you can find in the game, which, if you get all, I think there are 8. If you get all 8 of them, it will, allow you to get an item that lets you cast magic without using gems, but those are in the most hidden spots in the game, and sometimes that randomizer can put required items in those spots.
Oh no. You know, I'm going to be honest. These spirits kind of just remind me of Scrooge in his PJs as a ghost.
We having frame drops? Alright, I may have to turn off the, hold on. Oh, I thought I had a screen share on.
So what's your favorite part of the speedrun?
Hold on a minute. Oh. Well, I may have to use my herb early now. Fortunately, I can just go back to the herb shop. Has the stream gotten any better?
It's looking alright on my end.
Okay. It's good? Alright. Okay. Alright, you actually want to unlock these layers in a very specific order. Because otherwise you get some extra dialogue. If you free both soldiers before freeing Dr. Leo. Alright, so I have to tell this queen that she's pretty so that she'll give me the VIP card. I need to get into the other tower.
I like how each of the guards apologizes to you when you present the card. We're like, oh goodness, I'm so sorry. You're important. Come in.
Fortunately, in this room, I have to stand in specific spots to be able to avoid damage from these enemies, but I'm still gonna take damage from the fireballs. I have to play it very safe. The next few rooms. Fortunately, I have a lot of gems. Alright. Now, before the next boss, since this is technically an RPG, they had to have a story in this game, but since most of the game is basically freeing NPCs, they didn't really have a lot of time for dialogue to tell that story, so they kind of threw it all in here. And since this is the English version, text moves at a snail's pace. So, as the game tries to tell its story, this is a great time for donations.
That was really just my bird Ollie speaking. That's her contribution. I don't know if that actually picked up on my microphone or not.
Alright, does anyone in chat want to predict how many times this jerk bird is gonna dive on me? One. Only one dive. Yeah, for that boss fight, the wind basically pushes you down, and you're basically trying to move up towards the bird. However, if you are up when it recovers from a dive, it will move further up on its recovery to the point that it would be impossible to poke it when it moves across the ship, shooting its fire. But basically, you want the bird to just shoot its fire across so you can poke it. That boss has the most RNG of any boss in the game. Also, let's say goodbye to Lisa. She's kind of heartbroken because her father died. By the way, the reason all this happened is because of this jerk king. And we're supposed to just forgive him. That makes a lot of sense, right? But we need the last stone, so we're just going to let him get away with what he did. Poor Dr. Leo paid the price for his actions. And also, before I leave here, I'm going to get a very hidden item that the designers didn't want you to find. Basically, it's just a better version of my power bracelet. This will... Oh, well, I overmashed. Fortunately, there's only one text box, but... Yeah, this super bracelet will not only double my attack power, but also double my defense. And with the super bracelet, the final area is actually one of the easiest parts of the run. Those flies are invulnerable to damage when they're not visible. But you can basically move into certain spots where you know they will spawn, and then swing at them.
This background is wild, I love it.
Fly won't leave me alone. There we go. Oh boy. You know what I didn't do? I didn't go back for another herb. Forgot that I lost mine. I'm just gonna go walk all the way back. Hopefully not die, because I still need gems for a few more layers. See, normally I don't have to get a backup herb, but since I lost my herb in World 6, I don't want one. Fortunately, all the layers that I sealed will stay cleared. This is why I made that tool shop beginning of the run. This is the last time I'm actually gonna need light arrows. Like, I literally can't even kill. I don't even think it's possible to kill that layer without magic. And it's actually... Well, I don't know if you have to clear that one, or if you could clear the other, but... Like, pretty sure you need magic to actually get past here. But there are two items I have to pick up, which are required to beat the game. One is the soul armor. Oh. Ow. Soul armor allows me to get through this last screen without taking damage. And then there's the soul blade, which is what allows me to shoot the phoenix magic that I need to defeat the final boss. I'm not gonna equip the Soul Blade just yet, because there's one more layer that I can kill with the Spirit Sword. But in order to unlock the final boss, I have to collect these 3 items. One of them is in this world, the other 2 require me to revisit other worlds, now that I have more advanced weapons that will allow me to clear certain layers that I couldn't clear earlier. So first I have to go back to World 3. Might remember that volcano area I was at earlier? Well, there were some of those metal monkeys, like the ones I killed with a thunder ring, and I have to kill that layer in order to, or clear that layer, in order to get one of the Phoenix items. Not gonna bother equipping the bubble armor here because I have the soul armor, which means I only take 1 damage anyway, and I want to take a death warp after clearing this layer, so the damage is actually pretty good. Also, since I didn't put out the lava with the mermaid tears, I can do a very quick death warp after clearing this one layer, which is required for the item I need. You might remember those sun enemies that tried to kill me in World 2? Well, those are actually spirit-type enemies, which I could kill with either the Spirit Sword or the Soul Blade. And killing all of them is going to unlock a lair that frees a bird. And that bird is kind of afraid of me, because it likes to fly away whenever I try to approach it. But that bird has the last item I need. So once I clear this layer, I have to approach that bird from behind without getting noticed. Alright. Will I get this first try? Got it.
Nice.
Alright. I remember the King of World 4 that I didn't talk to after restoring it? Well, that king is what is going to summon the final boss. But I needed to get those 3 items, and I needed to free those grandmas. Hey, Spoonee, I have a question.
Yes.
Have you ever seen grandmas dance before?
I have not.
Oh, well, you're in for a treat.
I heard from an earlier run, I believe it was yesterday, that grannies can't floss, so does Soul Blazer prove that that is untrue?
Let's see. Dancing grandmas! So here the king actually summons the throne of the final boss and gives me the Phoenix magic. However, in order to actually be able to use the Phoenix magic, I have to be able to swing the Soul Blade. It's not like most magic. It actually comes out when I attack, but I need to be level 24 in order to be able to swing the Soul Blade. So there is a short grind I'm going to have to do. Fortunately, in the last screen of the game, there are these metal walls that give a lot of experience, 4,000 per wall, and they die instantly with one poke at the Soul Blade. So that grind won't take too long. It'll also give me an opportunity to stock up on gems, since each use of the Phoenix does cost 1 gem. So that will be a great time for some donations, if we have any.
I haven't heard enough reasons why I should play Beyond the Beyond yet.
Where are we sitting at for donations?
Our current total is $8,317.
Hey, I got an idea. If we somehow get to 9,000 before the end of my run, you play Beyond the Beyond on stream. No questions asked.
I have to get a copy of it, sure.
We still got a little time.
We're not saying I have to beat it, though, right?
I don't know. What do you think, chat?
I mean, I believe in a good cause, but I don't know about torturing myself with beating Beyond Beyond.
Alright. Final boss time. First phase of the final boss is pretty easy. I just swing my sword, and it dies in a matter of seconds. The way the final boss works is I have to put out these blue flames in order to make the boss's hitbox vulnerable. However, the boss also shoots out these lasers, and I don't want the lasers to come out at the same time that the boss is shooting out its fire, because that creates a lot of lag, which just slows everything down. Fortunately, the boss has a pretty good hitbox. Like, I can still damage it from this position. Also, pretty easy to avoid those fireballs, because you can stand in certain spots and they'll be right between where the boss shoots them. The boss fight's actually harder on the Japanese version because the fireballs are closer together. So you don't have as many safe spots to hit it. Alright, we'll be coming up on time pretty soon. It's actually not good. Might die. Time.
GG.
Alright, hope you all enjoyed Soul Blazer. Thank you all for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for running this for us, TranceQuina. It was wonderful to watch.
Alright. Well, obviously, this is just one of the games that I run, but I run a bunch of other RPGs. I've run Final Fantasy IX, I've run Lunar, Silver Star Story, Tales of Xillia, just for a few. And if you enjoy watching RPG speedruns, I'd appreciate you giving me a follow. I also do variety plays of RPGs and other games. Thank you very much for helping me out, Spoonee.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you so much for having me on as your host.
Yeah.
And letting me make the occasional bad pun.